So, have I had coronavirus? Well, I've definitely had one. It's called the common cold. Yeah. I've also had something else. I did a last box run. Yes, a last one, many months ago. It was within the week before lockdown began. Cafes were open, people were around. I spent about 8 hours on the buses of Bristol City. But I did a lot of walking too. I was so worn out by the end of it. Even a conservative add up of the various walks I did, starting off with traipsing St Philip's Causeway and then back out through Barnell. Conservatively, it was equivalent of walking from the bus station to up where Airbus and the airfield are in film. And that was very conservative. But I did lots of busing or something. Anyway, about 5 days to a week later, I recovered from being knackered from the day of just strain. And then I got ill. And I called it an incompetent flu. It was the worst flu ever, and yet it had no idea at all how to be the flu. It was as if it was a violent influenza A. I had one a couple of years ago. And looking back, I should have gotten medical attention. Even at the time, I thought I was up the wood with it. I thought, I actually need an antiviral here. Really. I mean, you normally get a little bit of mucous membrane from like the top of your nose with flus and things. At some point you sniff and there it is. That's normal, that's the site where it started. But I had multiple ones, huge nosebleeds. I was getting it out my chest and throat, not sniffed down and then brought up. Actual like garbled mucous membrane. I had pus, brown pus. I mean, this flu was bad. Sandpapered from just top of my nose to the depths of my chest. Very ill. But at no point did I feel as unwell as I felt with the incompetent flu I had in March. It was stunning. And at that point, I hadn't even started using analog radio. And I did ask somebody about things, but taste disturbance and loss wasn't mentioned. And I didn't know at that point that it uses ACE receptors, or supposedly does. It's actually like being on a BNF sort of description of side effects of an ACE inhibitor or antagonist. The dry cough, the lethargy, taste disturbance, blah blah blah. And I kind of figured it was the coronavirus, the nasty one. I'm not using that ugly word with that annoying number. It's hideous. No. Like so many, I'm opting to just call it coronavirus. Even though in actual fact coronaviruses cause a very common form of the cold. It's sent this side. The incompetent flu. Yep. The cytokine monstrosity. And it almost threatened to turn into a typical respiratory flu type thing, but it just didn't. But wait. I've been getting bitten by ticks, mites and things for years up the deer, badger, fox, bat infested woodland I go to. Mites might larvae. The Arbo virus, arthropod-borne virus, well, whatever sets it off, it could be a background Coxsackie bee, I'm not sure. It's like encephalitis lethargica and it doesn't leave one as zombie or dead, but it could. I look like I'm on Thorazine, the older generation antipsychotic, but it should be thioridazine, because that was also strongly antimuscarinic as well as being strongly antidopaminergic and noradrenergic. Anyway, I thought I caught it every year, but last year, due to additional stress issues, my immune system was just tanked. It nearly damn well killed me twice. Just intercostal muscles don't move. Heart rate's half what it should be. And not only does it not speed up when I get up to exercise, it may even slow down, paradoxically. Must be inflammation of nerves, so they're not functioning properly. I mean, it's a really harsh bug, but it takes me 5 days to a week to realise that it's kicking in. So it would have kicked up probably just around that, just after that box run, because whatever it was made me ill, depleted my resources. Anyway, one thing about it is it floods my system with the equivalent, the body made equivalent of interferon A. Just the interferon levels of this thing is horrendous. Not general cytokines of all sorts, interferon, which inhibits viruses from affecting it. So whatever the incompetent flu was that was getting seriously scary, well, that weren't. But I got to the point where not only were my ribs not moving, my diaphragm wasn't working well. Now, I'd come off the naproxen and wasn't using it in medicine because I thought, well, these drugs inhibit COX-1 and 2, they're non-selective, which is what I want. COX-1 is your housekeeping chemical for your cells. They're like households, so it keeps them in order. And if there's a problem, COX-2 makes prostaglandins, that goes out and says help. Well, it inhibits both. And I just can't see how that's going to help if I get this virus. And it's painful, but I can get by for a while that. But I had to try some medicine. And within 20 minutes, half an hour, the inflammation was down, my chest was working. I didn't contact a doctor with the NHS. Why? Because although I was at the point where I could almost not breathe, it was just Arbo virus, or whatever that is. I've only got to take an anti-inflammatory, something nerves in it. It inflames the brain and nerves. Blood-brain barrier, meninges the worst. Drugs that don't normally cross it just do. Anyway. Non-steroidals free me out. I don't know what happens to the incompetent flu. But I then had a sort of 4 or 5 week cycle of Arbo virus working its way through. It was a little milder and shorter than when I get the bites, but not by much. So I figure I've still got it. I think because I had 2 cycles of it so bad, it's permanent. I think other years I've caught it again and again. It's quite a shocking illness, and well, I mean, if it is a virus, it may be the first known one to identify, because it's very hard to pin these down. It would be the first known one to actually do anything useful for the host. That is, if it doesn't kill the host. Yeah. Because now, even if I just get a common cold, it's taught my system to make so many interferons. I have immunosuppression from the cortisol, hydrocortisone. The body makes it. It's not just a medicine. That's from the stress. No, not the psychological anxiety lowercase version. The neurological, endocrinological uppercase version of the stress problem. But that's to do with cell replication of immune cells. But interferons are a chemical that sort of, for instance, make it harder for virions that have come out of a bird's cell to infect others. And they also signal as a problem. They help. And they're not disease specific. Now, the moment I get any kind of bug, it's only a couple of days. But this incompetent flu I had in March, I thought it was just that my system had gotten used to producing an awful lot of interferons. No. It was full-blown Arbo. In all its spectacular glory. I go, coronavirus, and if you're breathless, contact help, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, but no. My intercostal muscles don't work. My heart rate is about half what it should be. If anything, it slows down when I get up and move around. I look like I'm whacked out on about 10 antipsychotics at once. Oh, I don't use any psych meds. But I can work out what these drugs do from pharmacology. And, I've been on a ward, wasn't force medicated or anything, but I was diagnosed with a problem, but I've seen it. Yeah, basically. Anyway, went back on those steroids. Breathing freed up fine, but Arbo still did psycho. I call it Arbo because it's probably another podball virus. Yeah, Lyme disease, that doesn't interest me. I've had 1 test for immune stuff. I've got severe stress suppression of my immune system, and they test for things that are immune turnover specific. 1 type of test out of 3 basic ones, and it said negative, so I've been told I don't have Lyme disease. And I completely agree. It's theoretically possible that for years on end I can go and get bitten by hundreds of ticks a year in a wood with. I can often see roe deer, like just from my camp. There's red deer, there's bats, there's foxes, rabbits, mice, clean rats. They're just countryside ones. It's theoretically possible that I might not have Lyme disease. And that though people catch it all over the region, I just haven't. Yeah. It's possible. If I do, if I do have Lyme disease, the last thing I'd want is get rid of it. I just need a bit of doxycycline occasionally, just to preen off some spirochetes. I wouldn't get rid of it, because then my immune system would attack me, even if it is suppressed by stress. I won't want it. No, if it's long term, getting rid of it completely is the last thing the patient needs. Plus, I'm half Scottish, Highland Scot. So, I figure. I mean, if anything, I'm the vet to know. If a clean tick bites me, it could possibly pick it up from me. I just find it fascinating. I filmed a full nymph once. And because I filmed it on the fossil it looks like an archetypical asteroid picture, but it's actually got fossils. I let it go, because it's like, well, I've not you about. Oh, I found it, didn't even know it was there. Must have had a higher level of anaesthetic than. It was only a nymph, but. Oh, I guess as well, but. Anyway, I was trying to work out how to get it out, because it was so full. I didn't want to pet it, but it came out. It was obviously real, yeah. And I found it, and I let it go. I thought, well, I've not you about. I got no problem with killing them, this is. I had mucked it about, so I let it go. I figured it's alright for me. If anything, they probably pick something up from me, but the deer aren't going to mind. I'm not even getting started on Indo this room.